There's a hormone that the body creates that leads to powerful erections and powerful sexual function in general, powerful hormone levels as well. And interestingly, this is something that takes place in both men and women's bodies. And through sexual activity, the effects of this hormone can actually be maximized when approached in a certain way. So I'm going to break down what this hormone is and how you can maximize your ability to produce it. I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit subscribe to support the channel and get my free ejaculation control course through the link in the video description below. So this is going to be a more scientific video. I've been doing a lot of research recently into various aspects of sexual function. And something which I discovered actually quite a while ago, but have been diving more into recently, is a certain substance that the body produces. Now, technically, it's actually not a hormone. It's a hormone-like substance. And this is prostaglandin E1. Prostaglandins are, there's a lot of different types of prostaglandins that the body produces. And prostaglandin E1, which for simplicity's sake, I'll refer to it as PGE1 for the rest of the video. This is one that specifically really correlates to healthy sexual function, both in men and women. Of course, I'm going to be talking more towards men because that's what 95% of my audience is. And one of the differences between prostaglandins and hormones is that prostaglandins are produced locally in certain areas of the body, whereas hormones are just circulating through the bloodstream, they're produced by the glands and then circulating through the bloodstream to be used wherever they happen to end up, wherever the body's sending them to. Prostaglandins are produced in the specific area. So PGE1 is created in the prostate, in the testes, in the blood vessels in general. For women, it's produced in the vagina. So the way PGE1 affects your sexual function. Number one, it's a potent vasodilator. It dilates blood vessels, meaning it expands the blood vessels so that more blood can flow through them, which means, of course, good erections, and for women, good engorgement of the vaginal tissues, because that's an important part of sexual function. More blood flow into the genitals, obviously more sensitivity, more pleasure, but also a better sexual function for hormone production and things like that. PGE1 also supports tissue oxygenation and nutrient delivery. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and it also helps the endothelial walls in the blood vessels to stay healthy, which means, again, healthy blood flow, because having healthy blood vessels and healthy endothelial function means that the blood vessels can produce nitric oxide as it needs to. Nitric oxide is well known as a substance that is also a vasodilator. So there's this positive feedback level between prostaglandin E1, PGE1, and nitric oxide levels in the body. So the more that we can maximize both, the better that boner is going to be, and the wetter that pussy's going to be too, you know what I'm saying? But what's extremely interesting about this and why I'm toting this is like the boner hormone. It's not technically a hormone. There's a certain type of erectile dysfunction drug that men take where they actually inject it right into the penis. There's a common one, which is alprostadil, I don't know how it's pronounced, but something like that. And as I was looking into this, I found that this is basically synthetic PGE1. So men take this synthetic PGE1, inject it into their penis, and they get a solid erection for 2 hours. So there's something to this PGE1. But here's a funny little side note. As I'm looking into this, apparently, if you were to go to a doctor and get prescribed this thing, he would basically have a 2-hour session with you showing you how to inject it into your member. And the reason it had to be 2 hours because he has to stay there with you because you're going to have a raging stiffy for 2 hours, and he has to make sure you're not going to, have a priapism and pass out or the issues that arise from these types of drugs, which create unnatural levels of these things in the body. So just a humorous side note. I just imagine being in a doctor's office for 2 hours with a raging boner. It's like, what are you talking about? The weather? It's a rather stiff one today. PGE1 also, as one of the effects of it, is it assists with nutrient delivery from the bloodstream. It also helps other hormones be delivered into the localized tissues of the genitals. For example, it helps testosterone reach the androgen receptors within the genital region, which again supports erection function, but it also supports testosterone production and sperm production as well. So how to increase PGE1 levels in the body naturally? Of course, you can go to your doctor and get a shot to inject it in, but I don't recommend that approach personally. There's a lot of very negative side effects from a lot of these ED synthetic things that they'll give to you. Again, my approach is always taking a natural standpoint, a holistic healing approach. And first of all, you have to understand that PGE1 comes from the metabolism of fats. It's produced by specifically gamma-linolic acid. Through specific enzymatic processes in the bodies, the fatty acids are converted into PGE1. And a good source of gamma-linolic acid, the best source I've found is borage oil. I've been taking about 2.5 grams of borage oil per day, which is about half a teaspoon. I get a liquid bottle of it. I'll put a link in the description of this video, which brand that I like to use. That gives me my GLA acids for the day, supports PGE1. I've had pretty solid erections. You know, it wasn't really a problem with me before, but I would say it's only improved since I've been aware of this aspect. And you also want to have a good balance of omega-3s to 6 fats in your diet. GLA, gamma-linolic acid, is considered an omega-6 fatty acid. And so you want to also include omega-3s in your diet. Personally, I like to get it through fish. I eat salmon, get some wild caught salmon. None of that factory farm, weird diet, food colored red stuff. But when you're getting your GLA to support the PGE1 metabolism process, you want to also make sure you're getting zinc and magnesium with it, as well as B vitamins. These all support the conversion of the fatty acids into PGE1. So you turn that fat into hardness, you know what I'm saying? And of course, in general, for supporting these healthy processes of the body, you want to exercise, make sure you're moving your body, getting enough sleep, having a healthy diet, getting, enough hydration, drinking enough water. And one of the huge things I'm always talking about is avoiding toxicity in the body, because we're bombarded with toxins from the household products we use. I mean, the soap that you're using, the shampoo you're using, it may have tons of endocrine disrupting chemicals, which disrupt the process of these things converting and being bioavailable to your body. So one of the best things you can do for your sexual health is always detoxification. And finally, I want to talk about one other thing, which is how this can also be maximized through sexual activity. Because, it's interesting, because my path in this work, being a practitioner of sexual kung fu, Taoist, tantric arts, I have a background in the more mystical, woo-woo kind of area of things. But recently I've enjoyed kind of like bringing some more like modern research into things, understanding the physiological function of the body and kind of seeing the overlap between the two here. What I feel is really interesting about this is that for women, PGE1 is in the vaginal secretions. And for men, there's PGE1 in the semen. So sex is also a way in which men and women have a physical exchange of these fluids and benefit from literally from each other's bodily fluids. One of my teachers that I studied with, he talked about specific sexual practices to really charge up your erection, to charge up your sexual potency. And of course, creating powerful orgasms between the partners. And for me, realizing that a lot of the Taoist practices, they talk about absorbing the woman's essence, absorbing her yin essence. And there's certainly an energetic aspect of that, but there's also a physical aspect. When your penis is in a vagina, and it's wet and ready, baby, you're actually absorbing a woman's prostaglandins, because again, during sex, when you're aroused, they are produced in the moment. They aren't necessarily something that's stored in the body. They're produced as they're needed, depending on the factors I already mentioned. And so as you're having sex, becoming aroused, the body is producing these things. Basically, the longer you can have sex and the more frequent you can have sex, the more you're going to absorb each other's prostaglandins. Though, of course, there's a bit of a catch here in that for men, it's important to regulate ejaculation, because too much ejaculation is going to just dump out all of these important resources your body's generating. And so I think that in this way, one of the reasons why non-ejaculatory sex for men is so rejuvenating is that you're absorbing the essence of the woman. It's maximizing your own sexual function, and you're using your yang essence to give her powerful sexual orgasms, which actually creates a positive feedback loop between her sexual center and her pineal gland. When you're having these full body orgasms, they're blasting up your spine, kind of rejuvenating the endocrine glands. Of course, the pineal gland is a master hormone regulator. So giving her these powerful orgasms, because you're using her yin energy, her fluids as well, to charge up your own sexual function, so you have better erections and you've developed your ejaculation control so you can last for a long time, to give her these crazy orgasms over and over. And it blows up her pineal gland and maximizes her hormonal production so that she's able to generate more and more. It's just amazing to me as I dive deeper into this, how much it shows that sex is actually an incredible technology of rejuvenating the human body. But the problem is that most humans are functioning on the poor and conditioned approach, and they only know how to do it in a destructive way. And when you integrate the ancient wisdom with a bit of modern understanding of the physiology of the body, you start to understand here's more reasons why it's beneficial for a man to not ejaculate all the time, and how these sexual practices truly do charge you up on a physical level, on an energetic level, and on a spiritual level. And one little point I want to make here is that, and I think this is also why a lot of women crave a man's ejaculation, because she gets a burst of, well, many substances, hormones, minerals, prostaglandins. So once again, sex is a deep exchange, and the more consciousness you bring to it, and the more you keep yourself healthy through lifestyle and all these sexual practices, the more vitality, enjoyment, and orgasmic bliss you can experience in your life. That's what it's all about, baby. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to share some of the supplements that I take to support my PGE1 production in the description of this video. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like, and have a great day, my friend.